Picture a world nearly 2 million years ago. A new kind of human stood up, and they didn't just survive, they conquered. This isn't just our ancestor. This is the first great traveler of humanity, the first to look at the horizon and walk towards it. This is Homo erectus, the upright man. They weren't just standing tall, they were thinking tall. With a brain larger than any of their predecessors, Homo erectus wasn't just another primate. They were innovators. They looked at a sharp rock and saw a tool. Not just a simple chopper, but a meticulously crafted hand axe, the Acheulean axe. This wasn't just a rock. It was a multi-tool, a Swiss Army knife of the Stone Age. It could butcher a carcass, dig for roots, and strip bark from trees. This single invention was so successful, so perfect for its purpose, that it remained the dominant technology for over 1 million years. Imagine using the same smartphone model for 1 million years. That's the level of innovation we're talking about. This technological leap fueled their greatest achievement, the first great human migration out of Africa. Homo erectus didn't have maps or compasses. They had courage, curiosity, and the ability to adapt. Small family groups, perhaps just 20 or 30 individuals, stepped out of the familiar African savanna and into the unknown. They followed the herds, they followed the rivers, and they followed the seasons. Their journey was epic. They moved north into what we now call the Middle East. Some went west, reaching the Dmanisi site in modern-day Georgia around 1.8 million years ago. The fossils found there are astonishing. They show individuals who were relatively small, with smaller brains than later Homo erectus. Yet they had already traveled thousands of kilometers from their African homeland. It proves this wanderlust, this drive to explore, was ingrained in us from the very beginning. But they didn't stop there. The journey continued eastward. They pushed across Asia, adapting to new climates, new predators, and new food sources. They reached Indonesia, crossing land bridges that are now underwater, settling on the island of Java. Here, they thrived for hundreds of thousands of years, becoming the famous Java man. In the north, they ventured into China, where Peking man fossils were discovered near Beijing. This wasn't a single organized migration. It was a slow, generational creep across the globe, a testament to their incredible resilience. And here's where the story gets even more incredible. We now know they made it into Europe as well. Fossils from Spain and Italy confirm their presence. So, think about that. One single human species, originating in Africa, managed to populate 3 different continents: Africa, Asia, and Europe. They were the first true globals, the pioneers who laid the groundwork for all of humanity to come. How did they do it? A key part of the puzzle is fire. While the exact timing is debated, evidence suggests that Homo erectus was the first human ancestor to control fire. This was a game changer. Fire provided warmth, allowing them to survive in colder climates. It offered protection, keeping nocturnal predators at bay. And most importantly, it allowed them to cook their food. Cooking meat and tubers unlocked vital nutrients, making them easier to digest. This extra energy didn't just fuel their bodies for long treks. It fueled the growth of their most important asset, their brains. A bigger brain meant better social structures. They lived in cooperative groups, working together to hunt large animals like mammoths and giant deer. Hunting such massive prey wasn't a job for one person. It required planning, communication, and teamwork. They likely cared for the sick and the old, as evidenced by a Dmanisi fossil of an elderly individual who had lost all his teeth long before he died. Someone must have been feeding him, processing his food for him. This is the dawn of compassion, a fundamental human trait. Their world was a terrifying place. They shared the landscape with saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas, and massive bears. They weren't the strongest or the fastest creatures out there, but they were the smartest. They used their intelligence to create tools, control fire, and work together. They turned their weaknesses into strengths. For over 1.5 million years, Homo erectus walked the earth. They are, by far, the most successful and long-lived human species ever to exist. To put that in perspective, our own species, Homo sapiens, has only been around for about 300,000 years. They witnessed ice ages come and go, mountains rise, and rivers change course. But like all stories, theirs eventually came to an end. Why did they disappear? It wasn't one single event. As the climate changed, and as new, even more advanced human species like Neanderthals and eventually Homo sapiens evolved. the world of Homo erectus shrank. They were likely outcompeted for resources, gradually absorbed or replaced by their own descendants. The last known population may have survived on the island of Java until as recently as 100,000 years ago, living relics of a bygone era, but they never truly vanished. A part of them lives on in us. Their legacy is not just in the ancient tools they left behind, but in our DNA, in our innate drive to explore, to innovate, and to connect. They were the ones who took the first, bravest steps out into the wider world. Every time we look at a map of the Earth, we should remember the first species that dared to cross it. They proved that home wasn't a place, but a journey. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into our deep past fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next exploration into the incredible story of human evolution. See you next time.